Good evening, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project, Magnetic Reversal News, Sacred Geography, and many others, bringing you a grand solar minimum update, Sunday, November 19th, 8:30 p.m. Mountain Time, 2023. We're waiting for a geomagnetic storm, maybe G1, low level, to affect Earth anytime now. The telemetry is showing maybe some hints it is arriving, but nothing that spectacular. We do have some major sunspots turning around the limb, which could be lighting up the skies in a few days, so stay tuned for more updates. Keep calm. It's boom time. Anchorage sees its snowiest November in 70 years. Holy macaroni, what's going on, folks? Well, a squall that dropped barely an inch of snow Friday morning added just enough accumulation to make this the snowiest November in Anchorage since record keeping began in 1953. No one knows how far back this record may have broken the actual data, but an amazing milestone nonetheless. And the mainstream media really not covering this, but Anchorage Daily News does a good job. Record-breaking rainfall and nearly a foot of snow recorded in the California storm that's coming to an end now. More snowfall in the Cascades today, but not much more expected tonight. And snow and destructive winds cause wrecks and power outages in East Idaho as that storm moves east like a beast. A storm packing rain and snow will hamper Thanksgiving travel in the Midwest and the Northeast. And in fact, in the South, Gulf Coast, during the busy Thanksgiving travel weekend, we could be seeing severe storms that bring strong tornado threat to the region. Severe storms possible Monday and Tuesday in Alabama. And here's the forecast. A storm tracking across the west, pre-Thanksgiving storm with potential travel impacts in the east. A cold front is producing strong winds, high elevation snows, coastal and valley rains. I know, I woke up with snow right outside my door this morning, and a surge of cold air across much of the western U.S. this weekend. A pre-Thanksgiving storm may bring areas of severe thunderstorms, gusty winds, heavy rain, and heavy snow from the central to the eastern U.S. early in the week, which will impact travel, especially during the holiday season. Here's that snow moving east. You see it right there? Boom. It's already out of the West Coast, now affecting Idaho, Utah, Colorado, New Mexico. And you can see it's going to be bombing out here, creating heavy snow for eastern Canada Tuesday, Wednesday. There it is. Now let's move this model through. Look at that bomb. There's going to be more snow behind it. Small clipper there. More snow for the Northeast. And let's bring it back actually to Thanksgiving. And we'll walk this through for you. Here is Monday into Tuesday, which is your lose day on the East Coast. Trust me. In Wednesday especially. Look at this heavy rain down there. Holy macaroni. That's going to be definitely some flooding for the Mid-Atlantic there in the Delmarva Peninsula region on Wednesday, November 22nd. Now, as we head into Turkey Day, look at this major system goes offshore. So even though you'll be saturated, it'll be freezing behind the front. On the East Coast, it should be clear for your gobble gobble day, except for Maine, which is insane. You are going to be buried in the global warming goodness. And let's take a look at the precipitation here. Let's look at the total snowfall, shall we, through the event. Take a look at the Northeast through Gobble Day. That is going to be an interesting Turkey Day for Vermont, New Hampshire, upstate New York, central PA, and the high elevations down the Appalachian Spine all the way through West Virginia, which means Snowshoe is going to be getting some powder. Now, the snow forecast is looking epic. Take a look at this after Thanksgiving. We have a huge system that moves down the West Coast here Friday, November 20. Right after Turkey Day, the West Coast is going to be pummeled in snow. Colorado getting much needed moisture. That could move all the way down to Texas. The nexus of the Schmexes into Oklahoma. And then, wow, look at these systems. Could be affecting the Midwest and the Northeast through the first week of December. A December to remember. Shut up, Al. Get in your hole. No bunt cake for Al Gore tonight. Seismic update. No real quakes of note. Looks like normal activity worldwide. Some mid-ocean ridge activity. 5.3 in the central mid-Atlantic ridge. We're keeping a close eye on Iceland. That's the big focus for everyone right now. But also Mount St. Helens, another uptick in small seismic activity. We're going to keep a close eye on St. Helens as things are developing beneath the volcano. Now, an Icelandic town, Grindavik, may be evacuated for months as volcanic rumblings continue. Bad news for the residents there. In fact, thousands of them. Good news is residents have been given brief windows of time to collect their belongings and prepare to flee their homes as the eruption concerns persist. They've been going on for days, if not a week now, and we are entering the second week. No eruption yet, but the eruption potential is likely and remains very high. This is because seismicity has come down and the focus is now on the dike region where the magma has been emplaced here from Grindavik, from the sea all the way north 15 kilometers. Our thoughts and prayers go out to those people in the town of Grindavik because when and if this erupts, there's a high likelihood that much of that town could be cut off, destroyed, or burned or buried in lava. Here is the seismic tremor that we would be keeping an eye on to see if there's a shift. And in fact, in the last few hours, look at how thick these seismic tremors are coming in here. There is definitely an uptick in seismic tremor. This could be indicative of the magma moving up into the surface. So stay tuned for updates and watch the live stream to get the latest on what's happening. It's very foggy there, so we really can't see anything until the sun comes up in just a few hours. Space weather news update. You can see here some moderate activity, some moderate M flares, and a little pulse here in activity. But the latest HMI intensity is showing quite a few sunspots coming around the limb. We are at solar max, and we should expect to be seeing these across the disk in 2 stripes here, but we do not. That is because we are in grand solar minimum. Regardless of what anyone tells you, cycle 25 is one of the weakest cycles in 200 years. And cycle 24 is confirmed as one of the weakest cycles in 200 years. And cycle 26 may be the weakest cycle in 300 years. And that would mean bad news here on the surface because what happens in grand solar minimums, VEI 6 and 7 eruptions occur and the sky goes dark. Keeping a close eye on the geomagnetic Discover solar wind. The CME has not arrived. There has been a slight shift in the phi angle, and we'll keep a close eye on it for you tonight. But make sure before you go to bed, get out and go look up. KP still below 1 for days. So not much happening here in the Aurora forecast until that CME pulse crosses the telemetry, and then the skies will light up. Now, let's talk about lighting some things up. SpaceX's Starship was lost shortly after launch of its second test flight. This is SpaceX's second attempt at sending Starship, the largest rocket ever attempted, on a round-the-globe trip. Following an April test flight that failed after only 4 minutes, this one lasted a few minutes longer and is considered an achievement, even though they just burned up $1 billion. Let's take a look.
The first ever successful hot stage for SpaceX's Starship.
Incredible.
Everyone's cheering and it's about to blow up.
Booster.
Boom!
And as you can see, the Super Heavy booster has just experienced a rapid, unscheduled disassembly. Now, if the booster had survived...
Rapid, unscheduled disassembly of, well, a gigantic rocket filled with tons of explosive fuel. Hopefully Elon gets this right before he puts people on it and sends them to Mars, which is basically a penal colony on a planet you can't, well, it's a nightmare. So there's that. Please come over to Oppenheimer Ranch Project at Diamond the Dave and subscribe over on Twitter/X, where you can get all the latest updates all day and be well up to speed, in fact. Well ahead of the mainstream media. Now, the Trail of Crabs leads scientists to a remarkable underwater discovery. The scientists have discovered a never-seen-before hydrothermal vent teeming with life off the Galapagos Islands by following a long trail of squat lobsters. We could actually see the squat lobsters earlier today in this image, but I think my ad blocker is preventing the visual. Nonetheless, shut up, science. We don't care. Let's see if the video is going to play here with said crabs. It's unimportant. Yeah, what happened was inevitably that crab trail shut down here because it's probably affecting us. That directed them to a quote-unquote lost city deep in the ocean, unlike anything we've ever seen before on Earth. But, in fact, we have seen these. These are hydrothermal vents, but these particular vents above offshore of the Galapagos are very tall. Discovered by scientists in 2000, more than 700 meters, 2,300 feet beneath the surface, is the Lost City Hydrothermal Fields, is the longest lived venting environment known in the ocean. Nothing else like it has ever been found. For at least 120,000 years and maybe longer, the upthrusting mantle in this part of the world has reacted with seawater to puff hydrogen and methane and other dissolved gases into the ocean in these particular hydrothermal vents that are amazing to look at. Now, what else these show us is that the nonsensical idea that the Earth turns over and there's some type of a catastrophe where the actual rotational pole flips, well, these objects would not exist in the ocean. They would be cracked off and they would be gone. So, sorry if you're hoping that the world is going to end as the rotational pole flips and all the oceans wash over the continents. That's nonsense for children and fairy tales. Ancient pyramid of Greece sparks controversy. This has been dated up to 6,000 years old, which would predate all of the dynastic Egyptian pyramids. And, well, those are probably dated incorrectly as well. So really no controversy here. The controversy is in archaeology itself. And, those that are in control of the Egyptian antiquity nonsense where they are feeding us lies, the truth is out there. So please do your own homework. All the links will be below. A grain of rice shatters the myth of Chinese civilization being 5,000 years old. This cultivated rice grain has been dated to over 10,000 years old, meaning China and the Chinese people have been growing rice since the Younger Dryas catastrophe, which actually you would believe would happen if everything prior to that was wiped away. So the dawn of civilization is not the dawn of anything. It is simply the rebirth of what we once knew once again after it was all destroyed, which has been happening quite a lot over the last few 100,000 years. Now, current news, dogs are getting sick and dying from a mystery illness in several states. Veterinary laboratories in several states are investigating an unusual respiratory illness in dogs. These laboratories are encouraging people to take basic precautions to keep their pets healthy as veterinarians try to pin down what's making the animals sick. They don't know. Oregon, Colorado, and New Hampshire are among the states that have seen cases of the illness, which has caused lasting respiratory disease and pneumonia and does not respond to antibiotics. This is very scary. Symptoms of respiratory illness in dogs include coughing, sneezing, nasal or eye discharge, and lethargy. Some cases of the pneumonia progress quickly, making dogs very sick in less than 2 days. So heed the warning, read the article, and be safe. Now, have you ever heard of the Sky Stone legend? It's an unexplainable oxygen stone. There's very little information on the interwebs about it, but the Pitoni Sky Stones, hard evidence that extraterrestrials visited West Africa, and maybe the reason the Dogon know about Sirius B. In 1990, Italian geologist Angelo Pitoni purchased a strange blue stone from a Fula chief in Sierra Leone in West Africa. The tribe claimed the stones came from extraterrestrial visitors from the sky. Pitoni returned home to Europe and brought the mysterious rocks to universities for testing. The results showed the stones did not match any known mineral. The researchers couldn't explain why the stones retained a blue color when a small piece was pulverized and viewed under a microscope. There was no blue color visible. Heating the stone to high temperatures would not alter the mineral either. Acids would not break it down. Further analysis showed that 77.17% of the stone was oxygen. The remaining composition was carbon, calcium, and an unknown organic compound. Well, then how did they... Anyway, the age of the sky stones may be as much as 55,000 years old, but new dating has shown them to be more likely... where was the date? To be between 2,500 and 17,000 years old. What are they?
Geologo
They are bizarre.
che trovò
And
questo
here
minerale
is Renzo
in
Mondani
Sierra Leone.
talking. This is an actual piece of the sky stone. It looks like it could be azurite or some type of chrysocolla, but those have much more complex chemical formulas than just oxygen. So it remains a mystery. The stones remain a mystery. Well, and history is a freaking mystery. That leads me to this paper I want to share with you that will blow your mind. The Shang Dynasty scripts and the suspected Indus scripts in Southwest American petroglyphs. Yeah, a new paper coming out from V Duo. I hope I pronounced that right. She is also on X as the same name, I believe, or V, and has some amazing... This is a 113-page expose on what she found at Petroglyph National Monument. In fact, she found actual Chinese script. It almost matches to the T. Jian, Quan, Dajai, and Zhang. These are all kings or leaders of the empires, and they are sitting here right on a rock in Albuquerque, New Mexico. No one has had any other alternative explanations for these symbols, which are actual language in the Far East, that are being shown here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, in the desert southwest of the U.S. I will link you below to the article. It will take you quite some time to get through. As I said, 113 pages. But I would appreciate any input from anyone that can understand what's going on here. We've got petroglyphs with Chinese script and potentially emperors in New Mexico that were put there maybe just 1,500 years ago. Shut up, Al! Get your hole! And that is a boom to knowledge. Please share this video as we are a shadow band. We need your help to grow. We appreciate each and every one of you. Hit the thumbs up before you go. It helps with the Al Gore rhythm, which Al Gore has no rhythm, by the way. Subscribe, become a Patreon, support all the work we do, and watch everything commercial free. Be safe. We love you, and that is a boom.